I am super excited to talk about today's feature as we share amazing facts about historical figures on Fresberg cartoon.
Anytime you think of soul and a train, you have to think about the life story of legendary television personality, Don Cornelius.
You are so right, Jay. Donald Cortez Cornelius was an American television show host and producer, widely known as the creator of the nationally syndicated dance and music show, Soul Train.
With his smooth voice and Soul Train highlighting some of the hottest dance moves, fashion, and music, the show was a huge part of pop culture.
It sure was. Now, looking at the biography of Don Cornelius, he was born in the Windy City. That's right, Don Cornelius was born on September 27th, 1936 in Chicago, Illinois.
Cornelius grew up on the south side of Chicago. From an early age, Cornelius gravitated to the arts. Don had a love for the arts, studying art and drawing cartoons for his high school newspaper.
He sure did. And another interesting fact from his biography is his service in the United States military. After graduating from high school, Cornelius enlisted in the Marines. Don would serve on a Korean air base for 18 months before leaving the military.
One thing I do like about his story is sometimes we don't have things in life all figured out. That doesn't mean we won't be successful, but often as individuals, we have to try something to see what works best for us.
That is so true, Jeremiah. And that same way of thinking applied to the life of Don Cornelius. Once Cornelius left the military, he would work odd jobs to make money. But noticing his smooth voice in the neighborhood, many friends and family members told Don he should have a job in radio broadcasting.
And Cornelius took their advice. He enrolled in broadcasting classes, which ended up paying off in 1966. WVON, a radio station in Chicago, hired Don as a disc jockey, news reporter, and announcer. From there, he would get hired as a television show host by WCIU-TV for a program called A Black's View of the News. The station had two youth-oriented shows, Kitty A Go-Go and Red Hot and Blues. The shows featured in-studio African-American dancers dancing to the day's popular music. Cornelius saw the value in catering to youth and put together a series of concerts by local musicians at Chicago area high schools. As these shows traveled from school to school, he called the tours the Soul Train. That is where Cornelius wanted to grow his vision, placing black youths on television in a positive light.
And that idea would lead to one of his greatest creations of all. Up next, I have to talk about Don Cornelius and his vision for television that changed the world of music, media, and dance as we know it for African Americans. Don Cornelius launched Soul Train as a live TV dance and music show in Chicago in 1970, and it would be a hit show.
That's right, and Soul Train would eventually take the nation by storm. After securing a sponsor for the show with Johnson Products, a black-owned maker of facial and hair products, signed on as a sponsor, they helped Soul Train to air nationally on October 2nd, 1971.
Soul Train eventually made its way to Hollywood, airing weekly. For its national debut episode, it had Gladys Knight and the Pips, Eddie Kendricks, and Bobby Hutton as featured performers.
Within 8 months, Soul Train was airing in 25 areas of the country, showcasing its famous dancers, Soul Train Dance Line, and Cornelius with his famous catchphrase, love, peace, and soul.
Speaking of dancers, the Soul Train platform helped a few celebrities get some exposure for their dance moves, including Carmen Electra, Nick Cannon, MC Hammer, and Lorianne Gibson.
Although most people know Soul Train for soul music and its urban vibe, Soul Train had a mixture of iconic artists including Marvin Gaye, James Brown, the Jackson 5, Elton John, David Bowie, and Paula Abdul, to name a few.
Don Cornelius' vision for Soul Train would not only change his life, but impact the lives of artists around the world. This would lead to Don Cornelius establishing other businesses like the Soul Train Recording Company, the Soul Train Awards, and the Soul Train Comedy Awards.
Although Soul Train no longer airs on television, the Soul Train Awards are still an event for fans worldwide to see. Honoring the best in black music and entertainment since 1987, the Soul Train Awards still makes their way to television annually.
The life and legacy of Don Cornelius and his contributions to the culture are like no other. Now, looking at his story, the life of Don Cornelius ended on February 1st, 2012.
All I can say is in the end, watching Don Cornelius take his vision of watching young blacks dance and enjoy music to a global platform is out of this world. And that is all today, highlighting interesting facts about historical figures right here on Fresberg Cartoon.